Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Matthew Carmona, and you are listening to The Strange Accounts. The Strange Accounts podcast was created so that witnesses could come forward and have a platform where they can tell their stories without being judged. I wanted witnesses to be able to talk about their strange accounts with the paranormal, with Bigfoot, with Dogman, with any type of cryptid or UFOs or any weird or strange accounts that happened to them in their life, and they wanted a place to come talk about it and not feel judged. And that's why I created the Strange Accounts podcast. If you've had an experience and you want to talk about it on the show, please email me at thestrangeacctspodcast@gmail.com. You can reach me by that email, and I will do my best to get you scheduled and get you onto the show. I know all of you have been waiting and have been super excited to hear this first episode. So the first guest that we got coming on is Isiah. Isiah had some paranormal experiences that happened during his high school years that he's going to come on and talk about. He's also going to talk about an exorcism that happened to one of his cousins back in the island of Tonga. And this account was told to him by very, very close family members who were eyewitnesses to that account. So without further ado, sit back, get comfortable, and let's get to Isiah. All right, everyone, I'm going to welcome to the show Z. Z, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, what's up, Matt?
How's it going?
I'm going well, man. Just excited to be on this podcast.
I appreciate you. You're going to be the first guest, the first, experience that we're going to have talking about here on the show. So if you just want to start from the beginning and just kind of tell us what you were doing, where you were, and just go from there, man.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's basically my experience of paranormal activities that I experienced. It was back in the summer 2006. And I was like a junior going to be a senior that year. And it was some strange activities. I just remember it was just back in Utah. And I'm Polynesian, I'm Tongan. In our culture, all the boys, they all stay, like downstairs, and then the girls, they will stay upstairs, or it'll be like, all the boys in one room, and then all the girls in in another room. So just culturally, right? So we stayed in the basement. I have two younger brothers at the time that were staying down there, and I had two older sisters that were staying upstairs. And I just remember when it was like in the summer 2006. I just remember I was sleeping, and it was about like 3 a.m. I woke up to just like a heavy weight that was on my chest or on my like torso area. And I remember I just couldn't breathe, and I was just like, and everything was foggy. Felt like someone was sitting on me, like a fat lady, And not that I ever had a fat lady sit on me before, but just saying. It was crazy, man. And I just remember I glanced over, and I saw my younger brother, whose bed was across from me, and I just remember he was passed out, and I was trying to yell and trying to get his attention, but my mouth couldn't move, nothing. The only thing I could do was process, think, and at that time, growing up in a very religious household, I just remember, what my mom would always say is like, if you're ever in a tough situation where it's beyond your control, just ask Jesus for help, And I just remember that night, when I was on my back, I said, Jesus, like, help me, kept on, like, I was asking for help in my head. It didn't come out of my mouth, but it was in my head, And I just remember looking at the clock, and it was 3 a.m. So all I can see was the red clock that I had, the digital clock, and it was 3 a.m. And that's the only thing I could see, and I was like, man, this is feels weird, you know. And I said a quick prayer, just asking for help, and then next thing you know, that weight just lifted. You know, it's like someone just got off of me, you know, and like I was like sinking in the bed, and when I got off, I was like, remember, I don't have a water bed. It was almost like a jail mattress. Not that I've been to jail before, but yeah, it was crazy, bro. And I just remember getting up. I got out of bed. I was gonna wake up my brother, but he looked peacefully rested. And I ran upstairs and I ran towards my mom to my mom's room, and I remember telling my mom, I was like, mom, like this is. I told her the experience, what just happened, you know, and she was like, everything's okay. Did you say a prayer? I was like, yeah. Like it was nonchalant, like it was no big. I was like, you did not just experience what I just experienced, you know. And then my mom said, no, you're okay. And then she said something I thought was interesting because like she wasn't born here. She's from the islands, and that's like a normal thing in the islands. She said, she was like, son, Satan's always gonna attack believers, people, people that believe in God. He doesn't attack people that are already lost and don't know God or have a relationship with God. And so when she said that, I was like, what the? She was like, expect it. But that's not your battle. All you got to do is just call upon Jesus. And I was like, but like, it was a sense of relief knowing that my mom was like, she was confident and she was very like, she was strong in her faith at that moment. Because to me, I was like, I was losing my head. I was like, what the hell did I just experience? You know, this is some crazy shit. Excuse my language, but scared, and I ended up sleeping in my mom's room, about to be a senior in high school, I slept in my mom's room like a little girl, but and but it was a sense of peace knowing that my mom, uh, just this wasn't her first rodeo on that, she was like, that's normal, expect it, but that's not your battle, gotta have a little faith, and she told me straight up, if you believe in the physical world, you gotta believe in the spiritual world, the world, the stuff that you don't, you're not just a body, you're not just a piece of material, you're also a spirit too, so she just spitting facts. And but yeah, that was my first experience, man. And I told my older brother about it, and then he told me the same story too. But it happened back in the islands, and I was like, man, this is my older brother who didn't live with us at the time because he was already out in college. But he told me the same thing too, and it's like, yeah.
Where were you living at that time when all this happened?
This was in Utah, West Valley City, Utah. Yeah, I grew up. My high school year spent it in Utah, junior high and high school. But yeah, that was my first experience was in West Valley City, Utah, junior year going to senior year.
Like I said, that's a very, to me, it's a very, fascinating account. I myself have experienced the sleep paralysis where you can't move and stuff. So, man, like I said, it's when it happens, man, it's crazy. We don't know what's going on, and
Right.
So, and you said that you saw. Is this the one where you saw smoke? That
Yeah, I saw smoke. Yeah, that's the first thing when I woke up. I was like, what the?
So what did the smoke look like?
It just looked like the fog you see in the morning, early morning. It's still dark outside. You can only see a few feet in front of you, but you can't see beyond like 4 or 5 feet. But just right, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's how it looked. Because when I tried to glance over my brother, I couldn't even see him. I couldn't even see. I could see just the bed, and the bed was just that was it.
Everything else is covered in fog.
Covered fog, yeah.
And you say and what did that fog, the color, was it like your typical fog of what you saw, like the white, or did it have?
Yeah, think of it like You ever get like you ever try to like burn like a bonfire and you try to burn wet wood? Yeah, that white nasty funky smoke. Yeah, that's how it basically looked.
And during that time, you didn't see anything other than just
No, I didn't see anything. I mean, like see anything crazy besides just the smoke. And then what I felt was just the weight on my chest.
okay.
And then the smell to me, it was more of man, like trying to recall the smell. I would say almost kind of like an ironing. You know, you iron it and you get the spray and you spray it. That's like that smoke of like. Shh.
Have you ever smelled sulfur? As people, I know of some people taking accounts of stuff like when it comes to spirits or demonic type of spirits. They say people can reference to smelling like sulfur or you know something along that line. I've never smelled sulfur, so I don't know
Yeah, shoot.
what the
Honestly,
smell of that is.
nah. I've never. I didn't smell that at all.
Okay,
I don't take that into account,
gotcha.
but yeah, it was crazy. It was one of those, your first experiences. You'll hear people talk about it, but then when you experience something, it's like, what the heck? What
Right.
is that? It's something I want to look into because that was a crazy time. I would say that was a crazy time in my life that summer, and
And you said you were a senior, so how old were you at that time?
at that time I was 16. I graduated at 17. It's not because I was smart. I just started a little earlier.
Yeah, and then like I said, looking at some of the notes that you sent me here, so that was your first ever experience that you ever happened in your life.
That was my first experience. I mean, that I experienced in a way. I mean, there was there was one back in sixth grade, but that was basically on the islands, and I didn't experience it. Like see, taste, feel, sound, none of that. No action verbs. But in sixth grade, when I went to Tonga, this is just a short story. But we went there, and there was a grave. It was ungraved, like it was missing bones, and they say in Tonga when you see that, that's usually them coming out of the grave.
So you think what missing bones? What do you mean
No
by that?
bones, yeah, like the grave, and they're investigating. It's not like the way it appears. It's not like someone dug it out. It looked like someone came out, and there was no bones,
Oh
nothing
wow.
in it. Yeah,
Okay.
and then but also you gotta understand, back in the islands, they don't bury them 6 feet underground, bro. They Nah, shoot, they don't.
What do you mean?
Like here. I don't know if it's standard per code or whatever. If there's like some kind of law on there, where you got to bury them 6 feet under, like the top of the coffin is 6 feet to the top of the topsoil to the grass. It's like 6 feet. No, no, in the islands, bro, it's like 2 feet under, bro. It's like almost like a PVC pipe irrigation system.
Wow. I mean, what are they?
Yeah,
Is that just like a common thing
yeah,
there? Like they not believe? Eh,
yeah.
not believe that
They're,
burying them that deep? Just
that's it. I guess we're lazy diggers. We would.
oh my good.
Guess
Wow.
we're lazy diggers, bro. I mean, we'll dig for other stuff, but yeah,
Right. So you see the grave, and
yeah,
it looks like someone crawled out of it. And you were saying that
yeah,
that's a bad omen
yeah.
or
That's
a
a
bad
bad sign.
sign if you see that.
And there's this saying because there's like a witch on the island. Her name is Melehuni. Mele means Mary, and Huni. I don't know what Huni means, but when I was there, like the kids, they would all say, "Oh, that's Melehuni." Melehuni did that. The witch goes and she the witch gets into their body and brings them out of the grave.
And this
Yeah,
is lore, legends. That
right. Yeah,
as kids, your parents
yeah,
pass along.
exactly. Yeah, and I don't know if it's completely true. Who knows? Maybe someone was trying to steal something. It could be some jewelry or whatever they left behind.
I mean, especially when you only dig them like 2 feet in the ground. I guess grave
Yeah,
robbers
exactly.
makes
Right.
it a lot easier.
Right. Go get two dogs and they could dig it. Right. But yeah, I mean, so outside of that, I mean, I didn't see that. I mean, I just saw the hole, and I saw the the police was there. They had the undertaker was there too, the caretaker for for the cemetery, and then they had a bunch of pastors and preachers there, all like, talking, and I was just like, man, I'm here to have fun. I'm not here for. I just want to make it home safely. That was it.
So you were just
But
passing by and you saw.
yeah, no,
Gotcha.
no, well, no. Where I stayed at, I went for where my parents and I were staying at. It was literally the cemetery's right next door.
Ah, like, wow. Okay. Yeah. So,
Dude, there's a cemetery every corner, and I'm like, man, because Tongans don't believe in burning, cremation or anything. They believe
okay.
in burial. Yeah,
So it's burial only. That's it. They don't believe any
burial
cremation or
only.
nothing like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I don't know if you know about the Tongan volcano. I don't know. We sidetrack real quick.
No, it's
Okay.
fine. Go ahead, man.
You know that the volcano that happened earlier this year and at the island. You don't remember that? And there was a whole like a tsunami warning that. But anyways, when that happened and it hit Tonga, all the graves, all the graves, bro, all those caskets, they came out. Yeah,
So it's a
crazy,
floating,
bro.
the
Just
whole
yeah,
river of floating caskets, man. You just look down.
exactly. God was like, I'm gonna send you to the ocean, so
So
you clean up
all
the
that,
whole island, bro.
all the whole island. So
Yeah,
all the burials, all the ancestors, everybody gone.
everybody's floating in the ocean right now.
Wow. Wow. That is crazy,
Yeah, shit. Hey, feeding the fishes. But yeah,
man.
that was my first experience, man. It was a little, it was a little wild, when you're a teenager, you hear a lot of scary stuff, but when
Right.
you experience it, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is weird. And I don't know the science behind it. I just know my experience. I don't know what I experienced. That's normal. Because I've heard a lot of people that have experienced that around the same time.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
And so, man, if you want to start with your second account, and I'm looking at here like some of your notes that you sent me.
Yeah, so yeah, that second experience, it was around the same time too, that same summer. So it was late at night, probably like one at night, 2 in the morning, And my friend David, I was going to my friend David's house. Another Tongan kid at the time. We were like besties. We played rugby, football together. And every time I was bored or he was bored, we'll go to each other's house. Like his parents were like aunt and uncles to me, same as my parents to him. And went over to his house. I was bored, summer nights. Like, all you have is just football practice and then go home, sleep, wake up. Just like, dang, I slept all day, Video games, right? Typical teenager life. And I decided to go over to my friend David's house, who stayed down the hill from me. I lived up on the hill. My parents' house, back in Utah. Same house. Um, I ended up walking to David's house, and while I'm walking, I'm going down the hill. I didn't want to walk on a sidewalk because the sidewalk it didn't have a lot of lighting, and to me, I'd rather stay out in the street. Right in the middle of the street. I could see cars, get out the way. When I was walking down the street, man, I started hearing a scooter behind me. Like, those little razor scooters. And I hear, like, if someone's literally right behind me, bro. Like, and I hear the sound of the two wheels hitting the crack of the sidewalk joint. Ba-dum, 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 right? Just scooting down. And I would stop and I look back. And every time I look back, the sound will stop. But I didn't see anybody behind me, bro. And it's getting loud, bro. And I know I cleaned my ears. Don't get me wrong. And I hear the scooter getting louder and louder every time I'm walking forward. So I'll continue walking. I'll look back, boom, boom, and boom, it'll stop. And I'll try to catch it. Remember that this time I'm 210, 6'1". I'm playing football. It's going to senior year.
You ain't afraid of nothing. You ain't afraid of
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah, yeah. Not just afraid of nothing. Like I believe I was pretty quick at that time compared to now. I believe I was pretty fast. And I remember I kept on looking back, like, what the heck, you know? I swear I can catch this, like, I'm not. It's getting louder. And I remember I hear it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. and I'm just in t-shirt, shorts, and just my basketball shoes. And I'm just trying to catch it, bro. I'm like, remember this, the street is dark, but I can still see what's behind me. I mean, it's not like there's a bunch of cars. Everybody parked their cars in the driveway or in their garage. But the street's pretty clear. I can see what's behind me. And so I continue walking. I look back, boom, nothing. And it's getting closer and closer. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm paranoid, bro. I'm like, hell no. I'm not going out like this. So I was like, it's getting louder. It's getting louder. Do, 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 do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is getting too close. And in my head, bro, I was thinking, when I was in sixth grade, sorry, let me backtrack real quick. When I was sixth grade, my mom got me a scooter, and I was a scooter boy. Like, I rode scooters to school and everything. And when my scooter broke, I was like, frick, I didn't have any more scooters. So what I did, this is early 2000s, back when scooters first came out, right? Remember, I don't know if you remember that. But if you had a scooter, you're pretty cool and they're expensive, right? And back then, I stole a lot of scooters. I stole a bunch. And when I mean that, I mean, I probably had like 50 scooters in my garage at one time, bro.
Well, you're selling them back to, you're flipping them back to kids?
It depends. I'll fix them. It was almost like a chop shop. A little troublemaker juvenile, like a little delinquent, right? And so in my head, I also thought, so part of my paranoia was like, what if this is like some kid I stole his scooter, or back in the day, and he gone crazy and he's coming after me. I don't know. You start thinking these crazy things, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm tripping, man. I'm like, this is crazy. They're gonna get me, man. Um, so I ended up just bouncing, bro. I took off running, and when the noise got louder and louder, I was like, oh hell no, bro. I took off and I started sprinting down the hill, bro, just flying. And I probably sprinted like 300 yards. I sprinted all the way to my buddy, all the way down the hill, and I got a bank of 90-degree to get to David's house. And I ran right into a main street without even looking. Um, no cars, nothing. I was just looking for light. As long as there was no light, I was gonna run into that street, and booked it. And I got all the way to David's house and banged on the door. Mom, open it. Jumped in. I told her my experience, what just happened. Same thing, like my mom said. And I was like, man, is this just a normal thing? Like, talking to women just, oh yeah. We talk to dead spirits all the time. Yeah, I don't know. It was like weird, bro. I was paranoid, bro. Like, and to this day, I don't know. I don't know who it was or what it was. But from when I first heard it to when I took off running, during that experience, it was probably like a good 50, 60 yards I walked and was kept on, until I just built up I gotta go. So I took off, and and David, he was born in Tonga, born and raised in Tonga. So he has experience of like it's called Bukit de Volo. That's like demon possessed. Bukit de Volo in Tongan. It means demon possessed. And he had a lot of experience of seeing that, witnessing it. So he would tell me like, oh, you know, like all you gotta do is pray, typical thing. Pray. Just say a prayer, trust in God, and He'll take care of you.
So these are both of your family members have told you, as long as you pray, that this experiences are normal. It's like your
Yeah,
family's experience that your mother's saying, yeah, man,
yeah.
this ain't nothing. We did this back
Right,
in the islands.
right,
All you gotta
right,
do is pray to Jesus and
right.
you're good to go.
Exactly. And my thing, it was like, I always thought it was weird because I'm like, if that's so normal there, why is it not normal here? You know, in America, like what? You know what I mean? In my head, I'm like, you know, that's just a normal thing in the islands, and I thought that was weird. Like, why is it normal there and not normal here, right? But then he was telling me, well, you got to think about it. Tonga is a very religious country. Like David, his parents are very religious, just like my parents. And he was saying like, you got to think about it. And he said the same thing basically my mom said. You know, saying no attack people that are already lost. He already got them, or got them. He already has them. You know, and he said he attacks those who believe in God. You know, that's why you got to stay on guard. I was like, man, he has a good point. You know, I'm not trying to make it all religious, but it was at that time it was very crazy. But yeah, I ended up sleeping over there too because there's no way I'm walking back home, bro. But yeah, that was about my high school experiences.
That me, that's a fascinating accounts, man. They're crazy, man. I wouldn't know what to do, if I kept hearing something walking behind me, and then every time you looked, there's
It's
nothing
not
there,
there, right? Yeah,
and
yeah,
then it keeps getting louder and louder and louder until a point to where
right.
you just book it.
Book it. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if I don't know. Like, that's the only time. After that, I haven't experienced anything as an adult. You know what I mean? So
So so these experiences only happened when you were like doing your teenage years,
yeah, but 16 basically. You know,
and that was it. Like
after that,
everything after that, nothing else has happened since then. It's all
since
happened.
then, nah, that was the only time it happened, bro.
Why do you
It's
think that
crazy.
is? Why do you think that
I
that
don't know.
is?
I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to be superstitious. What if What if I'm lost? Oof.
You think because when you think like maybe when you had a close relationship with God, you were getting a more of these kind of like spiritual attacks, or kind of coming,
Could
you were
be.
experiencing, and then now you feel like maybe because you have lost your way that you're no longer experiencing those. Is that kind of where you
Is
think
that
you're
the
going?
logic? It could be. I mean, I'm curious why I haven't experienced those experiences again.
Gotcha.
But I mean, at that time, I would say I was very. I mean, I was just a kid. Just football, school, somewhat of a girl, high school crush. That I was dating. Um, and yeah, that's about it. I mean, but yeah, that was it. School, football, sports, rugby, church, girl, lady here and there, but that was about it. But hang out with the boys, that was it. So I mean, yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I stopped. I think that's something I'm gonna have to process and journal about. Be more cognitive and aware of what's going on in my present day life. Yeah.
Now this last experience that you're gonna talk about. So this had happened. How old were you at this time? Were you around, like you said, like 5 or 6?
Oh no, no, no! I wasn't 5 or 6 at that time. That was I want to say I was in junior high.
Okay, so this is the last ones of when you drew high. My bad.
No, 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 no. Yeah, no, no, no. That was actually yeah, no. Back, yeah, 2005, 2005 or 2004. I was either ninth grade or 10th grade. I think it was ninth grade, 2004. But so this incident, um, my first cousin, he was actually there. So my first cousin, he basically he he was born here in the U.S., but he was raised in the island because his parents had to go back to the islands. They were just vacationing here, and he ended up having him here. One of those. Um, and so they went back to the islands, and then he was raised there. My first cousin, call him Knox,
Okay, Knox.
and he he ended up he had a younger brother. His name was John, and when they're growing up, the government basically told him, well, he's a U.S. citizen. My cousin Knox, and the government basically told my uncle and my aunt, his parents, to if they can send him back to the U.S. here to have a better education. And so they they thought, hey, why not? He's a citizen, should go back, right? And not only that, with citizenship, you can lose it if you're out of country a certain X amount of time, etc. Right? So he ended up coming back, and he stayed with us. And he came in 2000, 2005, 2004, 2005. And he stayed, and my mom took guardianship of him. But when my mom went down there to go get him back in the islands, um, the family was going through some tough times with John. John wasn't acting the same. And John, he was young. He was probably like 8 or 9. John was acting up. He wasn't acting the same, um, and he was going through like several months of just not being himself. And my both sides of my family, they're heavily Methodist. Methodist is a huge religion in islands. Methodist, Catholicism, and Mormonism. And he decided to, or they ended up discovering that John was actually possessed with a demon spirit. It's unknown what the spirit name was, but John was possessed. And when my mom was there, they tried to do an exorcism on John. Their pastor at the church, the Methodist church, and the deacon and a bunch of elders, they came over to the house to perform this exorcism to cast the demon out. And they had all the kids leave the house. They had all the kids leave the house, and they went down the street to our family's house. Like my uncles and the members, the leaders of the church were there to attempt to cast the spirit out when they were praying over him. They were trying to hold John down, and they say he was very strong. They were unable to keep holding him down, pin him down while they were praying over him. Um, and basically what happened, they ended up John was able to break free from their hold, and he ran outside. And when he ran outside, he climbed the coconut tree, and he went all the way up to the top. And when he went up to the top, he just let go. He let go, and he landed head first and died.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Wow! So he fell to his. Wow, man! I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah. Yep.
So he was. How many people were holding him? So let me start with this. So this was told to you by.
This was told to me by Knox, and told to me by my mom.
Okay, so you have two reliable sources telling you this information.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So did they tell you how many people were holding him down? Did they give you?
No, they didn't give me a number. They just said it was my uncles and the church leaders that were trying to hold this 9-year-old down.
And he was able to break free, climb out a window, climb up a coconut tree, and then
he let go
and fell to his death from a tree. Did your mom ever explain how they came to the conclusion that he was possessed, or maybe or did they even go through mental?
Oh yeah. Those details. Sorry. So basically, talking to my mom and my first cousin, they basically said when they were talking to him, because they were talking to the spirit, totally different person. It wasn't the same It wasn't John. The tone of voice, the spirit that was within him, and they gave a name. They gave a name, but I don't recall the name that who the spirit was.
So the spirit gave its name to them.
Gave its name, yeah. And before they performed anything, they burnt the, I forget what you call it. It's a Tongan word, but
Is it like
they,
sage, kind of like that?
yeah, like a sage scent. I forgot what kind. It's one of the islands they have that they make it out of. Anyways, but they were burning it, and that's when he was starting acting crazy, and then that's when the pastor of the Methodist Church, their Methodist Church, was basically asked him for his name. Who was he? Who was the spirit that's within John? And but they said the voice was totally different. Um, but you also gotta understand that's a normal thing. Demon possession is a normal thing in islands. You know, um, it's crazy, bro. Like it's like I don't know if it's really a small island and there's a bunch of dead people and I don't know.
Would your family say this is that like the only family member that they know of that has been possessed?
I believe I have an aunt too that was possessed too, but I don't know the details. I just remember my older siblings talking about it. But
But they
she
had no
told,
more of the
yeah,
deaths in the family.
no, but that was only that was the, my cousin John was the only one that died from it.
Did you know of other, like in the village, did your mom speak about other possessions that were successful? I mean, other exorcisms that were successful?
Sure, no, not that I know of. That'll be something I would want to know,
Right.
because you hear about all the bad of people being possessed, but you don't really hear of like any success story after the fact.
So once they figured out that they came to the conclusion that, hey, he's possessed, and they contacted the church, and the church showed up real quickly. And
Yeah, so it was an ongoing process where they came and visited him like daily
oh, so this has been going on for
throughout
a
the week.
while. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was going on for a few months.
Okay.
Yeah, before they actually was like decided to try to get this demon out of his body. Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like just hearing about it because I never met John. I've only basically saw photos of him. Yeah, so yeah, those are the only experience that like the first two were my personal experience, and then the last one was just someone close to the family, first cousin. So yeah, like I believe it's real, man. I don't believe it's. I believe if you believe in the physical world, this is human. I believe there's a spiritual world too, that we don't see. Yeah, so it's crazy.
So your take on spirits and demons, uh, that would be your take on that, and your belief is that they are real, that people do experience them, based off of your experiences in your life and what's been told from you, from your family members, and coming from the islands,
Yeah,
about dealing with spirits, dealing with
exactly.
demons, and the stuff that goes along with it. So,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, like I said, when you told me about these, man, I thought these were fascinating accounts.
yeah,
I'm right there with you, and I'm, I believe in the spiritual world. I've had my own experiences, so
yeah,
this, like, to me, that that's the reason why I wanted to start a podcast. Allow people to come on, kind of tell their stories, man, and
right.
have no judgment. Come out, talk about it, because I get it. Not everybody. Well, they kind of scoff at that when you start talking about spirits. You start talking about paranormal, cryptids, or anything else that to them would be out of the norm.
Yeah,
They just kind of go, whatever, man, you're just crazy, and they move along. And I get that, and that because I've tried to talk to people, even family members, and they're like, whatever, man, you just making that up, or they just don't believe you. And I
yeah,
get that, and so a lot of people, they just don't tell it. They just keep these experiences in their life. They keep them bundled in, and so That's nice. So that's why I wanted to start the podcast, kind of let people get on and kind of tell their stories, let it out, kind of a way of helping them heal and, going on. So.
Right. No, it's cool, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I mean, it's good to talk about these scary, awkward, weird topics. I know a lot of people don't like to talk about it. Or people, you're right, people experience it and they just don't want to talk about it because they don't feel comfortable. Like, I told one of my guys, my friends, that I was gonna do this with you, and he was like, "Bro, make sure you say your prayer before you." You know what I mean? I was like, come on, man. Like, I still gotta read my Bible and make sure everything is all right before I sleep tonight. Because I know I haven't experienced anything as an adult, but I might experience something tonight. Watch. I just, I
Hopefully not, but
know, right?
man, like I said, I really do appreciate you coming on and
Yeah,
and giving us the experience and allowing the audience to kind of hear your story and hear what you experienced and what your family experienced. So, man, I really do appreciate that, man, and thanks for coming
yeah, of
on.
course. Yeah, appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
All right, folks, that's about wraps up the show. I really appreciate you listening. I was super excited to finally get this show out to you guys. I know it's been a work in progress. A lot of people have been standing by and waiting for me to finally get this out. I really appreciate everybody's patience. And if you could do me a favor, if you could leave a 5-star review on whatever podcast player that you're listening to this show on, that would really help the show grow. Again, if you've had a strange account and you want to come on to the show and tell your story, you can email me at thestrangeacctspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's thestrangeacctspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you all for listening, and you guys have a great night.